people, and welcome back to my channel. First things first, drink of the day. Today's drink is a pumpkin spice with a little bit of vanilla. Listen, I know it's Christmas time, but I drink pumpkin spice year round. So that's today's drink of the day. Also, we're going for a gingerbread theme today, so keeping it Christmassy, even though we do have a fall drink. So, okay, today is very exciting for me because I am going over one of my favorite things about books: annotating. Now, I know a lot of people who, when I bring up annotating, they think, oh no, that's too overwhelming, that's too much, I can't write in my book, I can't do those things, I don't even know where to begin, what supplies to do, it's just so much. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. So, annotating is one of my favorite things to do. I think I've been annotating for 3 years now, and I don't annotate every single book that I do, but I do like to annotate at least a tab some of my books. So today I'm going to go over how I annotate my books, and then also tell you how to annotate if you're a beginner. If you're, nervous about starting this or it's overwhelming to you, it's okay. Take a deep breath. You've got this, and you can do it. It's not that serious. It's really fun if you want to get into it. So let's get into it. First off, I'm going to show you what I'm currently doing at the moment. So this is what I would call a really light, easy annotation, okay? No big history searches, no dictionaries needed, no nothing like that. So I'm currently reading my December TBR, How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. Very cute read so far. So what I did, actually this is a first for me, is I put my tabs in the beginning of the book here. You can see. So they're color coded, so you'll see where they are on here. So, as I say, this is an easier book. I mean, I'm not going in depth. There's not a ton of historical events or anything mentioned in this book. Not a lot of use of really extravagant words that I may want to look up and be more clear on. So this is just kind of highlighting the cute parts, putting tabs on, let's see what my tabs are. So we have romance, we have, let's see, quotes, funny, and tension. So let's see here for an example. Here we go. So you can see here, no big writing, no anything. I just simply have my tabs that match the funny category, or actually no, the green are the quotes, sorry. That match the quotes category, and then I just have it highlighted what I liked. So whenever I'm done with this book, and if I want to just relive it in the moment, I'd be like, oh yeah, I really liked that quote, that's what stood out to me. So this is a very easy one to do. If this is the kind of annotating I would do if I was just dipping your toes into annotating. I would just get you some tabs, and I have all that I'll show you in just a bit, and I plan to link all kind of annotating supplies that I show in this video in the description below. So no hunting, no wondering, I don't know, is this good or not? These are actually my go-tos, my tried and trues, and I've done a lot of testing, what works and what doesn't, and these, I guarantee you, they're very good. So yeah, so that's a good place to start. Also, a good thing, a little thing, not really annotating, but that I like to do as well, is get you a little bookmark that matches the book. I like to be matchy with my books. So I get me a bookmark. This is an adorable Christmas one that I got, and you put it with your book. So it's very cute. So the supplies that I use, I have in this cute little bag. Now you don't have to use a bag. You can simply you can use a Ziploc bag for all I care. Or you could just put the pen, stick it on the front page of your paper, on your book. Whatever you want to do. Normally I have one of these with all the tabs in my book bag, but I did something different this time, like I showed, and I put them in the front of the book, so there's multiple tabs here to choose from. It was quick and easy, just flip to the front page and you got it. So what I did is, like I said, I like to match things. So we've got this adorable cover, we've got a red pen, and again I will show you the brands and all my like pen collection and highlighter collection in just a bit. And I also have these two highlighters. Now, I mean, I think I'm just going to be using this for quotes and the pink one for romance, but I really couldn't choose between them both, so I just put two on there and I'll use them for two separate things. You don't have to do that. You could use a million different highlighters for each category. You could use one highlighter. It's completely up to you, okay? So that's what I did. Now, if you're going into this thinking there's no way I can write in my book, I'm not someone who can do that, I can't highlight, I can't bring myself to do it. That's okay. People have found ways to work around that. So, what I have here, they make translucent sticky notes you can write on. So you can put this on your page, or they even make them colored. You can just put this on your page, and taking it off does not harm your page whatsoever. You just put them on your page, and you can write on them instead of actually writing on the page. So that's very helpful. Also, I have found though that if you use those they're really slick feeling, the translucent ones. So writing on them with a normal pen, I thought I could do that when I first heard of them. And I tried doing that and they smudged all over the place, they got on pages, didn't work very well. So I will list these below, but this Zayar, I don't know if you can see very well. Let me try this. I can see, there we go. Zayar, it's a permanent marker. It has like this little bitty pen point. And then I never really use this side, but it also has this side as well, a thicker point. I have found that this permanent marker is great for writing on those, and it does not smudge. It's very good. I mean, I wouldn't immediately like run your hand over it after writing on it, but it works a million times better than just a regular old ink pen. So if you're gonna use those and you're terrified of getting stuff in your books, I would definitely try something like this, and I will link them below. If you don't want to go the translucent route and you just want to pick you up some sticky notes, you can do that. I have all kinds of colors that I've got. I actually found a collection that had a bunch of different colors, and these are just regular old sticky notes. You can match them to the color of your book, or you don't have to. You can just use your favorite color and you can just write on them with a regular old pen. So the regular sticky notes, I'll show you the difference. The regular ones, just regular paper, you can write on it. These, however, that are thinner, you can kind of see through them a little bit. Yeah, these you're going to want the permanent marker. So just a heads up there. And they also make them in fun shapes too. Make them little circles and all that. So it's completely up to you. Like I said, it's not that serious. Annotating's really fun once you get into it. Just being able to look back through books that you've done and be like, oh yeah, I loved that part. I remember this part. Or if you're like, oh, where was that quote that I loved? I can't find it. You can be like, oh yeah, there's my quote tabs and my index. Let me quickly find that. And it really helps. So I really love doing that, especially when I'm updating my reading journal. I like to put my favorite quote or two from the book, and it's really easy just to flip in there and find that quote. So very handy to do. Next, if you want to get a little bit more studious, I guess, with your books, I do have books that I have done that too. I don't do it terribly often because if you do it every time you read, sometimes it kind of feels like homework to me. So sometimes I gotta take a break from that. But I do have this adorable book bag from Archer and Olive that you can, if you open it up, keeps your book in here, all kind of pens, and I carry around with me a mini thesaurus, and a mini dictionary. Just because they're cute and they come in very handy. If you don't know a word, you want to look it up. So what I've done on more advanced books. So here's an example, Again and Again by Jonathan Evison. Let's see. Here we go. These I use regular sticky notes on, but here you can see that I've wrote quite a lot. So I did all kind of things with, they mentioned names that I wasn't as aware of. They mentioned historical events, some cultural references that I wanted to educate myself on. So what I did is I circled them. I like highlighted and circled the words, like right here. And I kind of just made myself my own little key. And instead of trying to write all those words in the margins, I just wrote them on the Post-it notes. So if you want to get more involved and you really want to get something from your books, this is something you can do. Again, this is not for everybody. I have a friend who read this book and she just flew through it and that's what she wanted to do. But there were so many things that I was like, I had to just figure out what it meant or how to pronounce it. And so sometimes I did just put a pronunciation and definition down at the bottom. Again, I did my highlighters. Definitely, I've found I still was able to enjoy the book while learning about historical events and making myself more culturally competent, understanding these words better instead of just brushing over these words and not getting the full essence of the story. I fully understood the timeline and the plots and everything. So if you're into that, this is how I do it and how it's worked for me. So really like doing this. Can be quite time consuming though, unless you're a really fast writer or something. But it can be kind of time consuming. So it can take you quite a while to get through a book if you do it like this. But it's pretty worth it in my opinion if you like doing this. So if you want to get a little more fun with your books, this is one of my favorite things I've done in books. And for 2025, I really want to do more of this in my books because I've kind of missed doing this. So I have two books here. I'm going to save my favorite for last. I'm going to show you this one first. Clearly, a heavily tabbed book here. But again, this is how I used to do it. I don't have any of the tabs in the book. But I think I'm actually going to start keeping the tabs in them like my current read because I really like that. So here's another thing that I did. So here, these are just single ones, like an index to show you what the different tabs mean. And then I wrote down little notes about the characters and some specifics and what might be important about them. But you may be wondering, why is there a Spotify code in her book? Well, there's more where that came from. So what I've done is if there's a certain playlist that I listen to when I read the book that just fits the setting of the book so well, or if there's a song mentioned in the book, then I created a Spotify code, printed it off, and put it in the book so you can just scan it and you've immediately got your playlist. Or if you're really into it, you can listen to the song that the character's listening to in the book. I just think it's a cool little thing to add. And also, more things that I add are pictures. So these are just paper clipped in there, or you could do tape. They can fully come back so you can read. But, you know, just descriptions of what the house looks like, of some of the foliage and stuff, just to get an idea. I've even, in the next book I'll show you, I've even done it with characters to kind of get the feel, so whenever you go back through it, you're like, oh yeah, that's what the setting looked like. That's what I thought the characters look like. Oh yeah, that's the playlist I listened to. Also, if you loan one of these books out to a friend or whatever, it's a really cool experience for them to be able to read through it and be like, oh, it's kind of like watching a movie, but in book form. It's pretty cool. So on to my favorite one is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is the first one I ever did pictures in. And I mentioned this briefly in my book tag video. I believe it was the last video that I just posted. But I am a bit obsessed with what I did to this book. So I put all kind of pictures, as you can see. Like, I just went to Pinterest or Google and just typed in whatever and just kind of looked around to see kind of what I was picturing in my head. And just printed it off, cut it out, put it in here. So here I'll show you what I mean by even did the characters. So here's an example. Here's one of the characters. Kind of what I pictured her to look like and her outfit to look like. Okay, here's kind of what I thought the grandma looks like. I even sometimes put celebrities' pictures in here. Here's like Dakota Johnson. And yeah, just kind of what I picture them to look like and what I'm like, oh yeah, that really fits. So in addition to having all of my annotating like I always do, so I always have an index with all the tabs. I have all my highlighters that match, all my tabs that I like to match, which you don't have to do that. You can just get a generic yellow Sharpie or Sharpie highlighter and just some plain tabs from Walmart. You can find them in like the stationery section, or even a Dollar Tree you might be able to find some, so it doesn't break the bank. And you can just start there. That's what I did with my first couple of books that I did, and then, you know, I fully went custom with everything, because that's just what I love. But guys, it does not have to be that serious. Like, it's literally highlighting what you want. Even in this book that I'm reading currently, I just have random notes that I wrote. So here's a funny comment that the author kind of wrote about herself in the book. Here's one where the main character says, "The cold has never bothered me." And I literally just put, "Okay, Elsa." So it doesn't have to be studious. No one is grading you on this. No one's gonna judge you for it. These are just yours, unless you know, want to branch out and give these to people, or I've seen people even sell these on Etsy shops, like fully done out. So it is completely up to you. Whatever you want to do, and if you go into it and you're like, this is not for me, and that is fine. That is fine. Reading is about having fun. And where I have fun with reading is matching all of my supplies to my books. So, thank you guys for letting me nerd out about annotating for a few minutes here. And now I'm going to kind of show you guys some of my favorite products that I use. Okay, so here you'll see where I keep a lot of my highlighters and my tabs and pens. So first, clearly I'm not at a loss for tabs. So I keep all of mine in here. And then here I have all my highlighters. This is one of the first brands I started with. It's the same brand that you can find those permanent markers from. Very good brand. They don't bleed very well. They do come in just not as many colors as I'd like, but very good brand. Next, my most recommended would have to be these mild liners. They come in so many different colors. Here's just a couple I have in here, and they do not bleed, and they're amazing to work with. Those are stickers there, so we won't go through that. Over here, we have more highlighters and pens, categorized by color because it's me, and of course they have to be. On to pens. I really like the Paperidge name brand. It's very popular, and it's for a good reason. Now, you can get these either with colored ink or just black ink. I like a mix of both just to mix it up, but I really like these as well, so I highly recommend those. I also recommend these Pilot 0.3 pens. I'll show you. They have very, very, very tiny ballpoint, so they're really great for writing in those margins and not taking up too much space. So these are great pens to use. Okay, so on to supplies. Some of my favorite things in the world are these book tabs. Now, I got these off Amazon. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on Shein. I've seen where people get them cheaper. You can just get them, and they easily peel off of here. So you can either, let's see, get you a pack that matches the book and just carry this with you. Just fell off. You can just carry it with you or put it in a book bag, whatever you want to do. You can even use it as a bookmark. Or you can do what I've done with my new read, and you can just peel the entire section off and put it in your book. So you have like your own little tab thing in your book. Another thing, if you're like, oh yeah, I want to just do an entire one of these, but one of those colors really don't match, I like a color from a different one, you can just swap them. You can just swap them. So it's pretty easy. I will link the brand that I got in the description below. But really, they're so handy and so fun to match to the covers of your book. So I love those as well. Now, this next one was a bit of a bigger purchase for myself. It's not the cheapest markers you can get by any means, but it was so beautiful and I used them so much that I had to get these. Look at that. It's a set of 100 markers from Primrose. Just look at the packaging. I had to. And wait. Take it off here. You have all your markers. Color coded, like it's beautiful, and there's so many shades you can match. So again, I will link this below. It is pricier. I do want to say it's in the 30 to 50 range for all of this. So just a heads up there. But if you're like hardcore into it and you want this, it's pretty cool. I love it. I love it so much. Also, some people I have seen even draw amazing like scenery and like character art and all kind of beautiful things, even paint beautiful things like inside the front covers of their books, in the middle of a chapter, in the in the space on the sides of the pages. Really, the limit's endless. You can put washi tape on there, you can decorate it, you can put stickers. I mean, it's your book. I'm a firm believer of it's your book. Once you purchase it, once you have it, it's yours to do with what you please. So if you're the type of person who can't stand to see a book page dog-eared or can't stand to see any writing in books, this might not be the video for you, or I don't even know the channel for you, because there's quite a bit of that with my books. But, you know, stick around. But yeah, there's just so many endless opportunities you can do when you get into annotating your books. You can fully dissect them. One of my favorite things that I've found is you can find little Easter eggs in books if you really look for it. One of my favorite things is the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. And when I was rereading it, the first one with a book buddy, I discovered some Easter eggs in there. Kind of spoilers if you have not read this. A little bit of spoilers about some of the main plot. So you may want to skip ahead a couple minutes just in case you don't want to get spoiled. But just a warning. I noticed there was a lot of mentioning of flowers. Very specific flowers. Not just roses, not just tulips. Like, very specific flowers. And I was like, that's odd to just put those in. I wonder why she did that. So, I had remembered seeing years ago about the Victorian language of flowers and how they used to believe that different flowers symbolize different things. Well, I looked into it, and I don't know if this is canon or not, I have no idea. But I am convinced that Miss Sarah J. Maas must have known something about this, because either that or amazing coincidences. Because so many of the meanings of those flowers foreshadow what's happening in the book. It's amazing. Like, spoiler, as Feyre is entering into the spring court, I cannot remember the exact flowers listed, but there are three flowers, I believe, that are listed as she's going into the spring court for the first time. She doesn't realize she's in the spring court. She does not realize she is with the High Lord of the spring court. The flowers that she passes by, once you look them up in succession, they mean springtime, new beginnings, royalty. And it happens multiple times. Like when she's in the estate in the spring court, and she's not liking Tamlin. She looks at a picture, and the picture's all about selfishness and envy and all this stuff. And if you can dig and get those kind of Easter eggs, it is so cool. It is so cool. And you get to really appreciate what the author has done. Again, I don't know whether Sarah J. Maas did that or not. That is fully my speculation. Whether she did or not. Very cool coincidences if not. But you really get to just appreciate the author and the writing for the artists that they are. And really, instead of just reading a story and moving on to the next one, you really get to just appreciate books for what they are. And they just get so much more meaning. Now, I'm not saying that every book you read where it mentions a flower, there's going to be some hidden whatever. Or, you know, there's some big plot twists that you can find just by this little word. There may be. Most likely not. This was the first time I've ever really seen this happen, was in one of those books. But let me tell you, my door flew open and I ran to go tell a friend that I just found this out. This adds up to this. And they never read the series and they had no idea what I was talking about. But it's so fun to figure out these things, almost like you've unlocked a clue to something. It's really fun. Speaking of unlock a clue, one of the best ones to do this with is murder mysteries. You can take down all your notes. You can really digest what's going on. You can really kind of just play a little bit of detective. So it's pretty fun. And the Stacey Darker book, this is a murder mystery. No spoiler there. And it was really fun just to be able to really envision what the characters look like. Again, I have Spotify codes in here that tell what they were listening to. You're able to fully get everything you possibly can out of this book. And just makes you appreciate it so much more, especially murder mysteries, because it makes you feel like you're just one with the book and they're trying to figure it out with them. So it's pretty cool. So if you can't tell, I'm a little bit of an annotating nerd. So, okay, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope I inspired some of you to start annotating your books and just kind of see if you like it or not. So, thank you for watching, and as always, be kind to yourself today. Bye-bye.